that this is a clear contrast.
There are lots of voices in government. Everyone is speaking out to advance their organization's agenda. And the voices that are often heard are those of lobbyists, big business, and big money. Who is speaking up for women's health?
I want my voice heard.
I would love for someone to advocate for me.
I want my voice to be heard.
I would like an advocate for my rights.
I matter, I want a voice, and I want my daughter to have a voice.
The National Women's Health Network is a voice for women and a network for change.
We live in a very complicated world, and we're given health information that sometimes is not in our best interest, that is quite often in the best interest of corporations, the best interest of capitalists, and sometimes they tell us things we want to hear, and they might not even be true.
The National Women's Health Network is a national organization which is based on scientific research and science. It is not a lobby group, it is not an industry group, it is not a special interest. Its sole purpose is to conduct proper research and to be a strong voice for women's health, which they are.
They do a very good job monitoring the regulatory process, especially at the Food and Drug Administration, Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, and keep a careful watch out for important issues.
They're one of the most effective advocacy organizations in Washington.
The genesis of the National Women's Health Network was in the 1960s, a time when society was under scrutiny everywhere, and women began to question the way they were treated, in doctors' offices, during childbirth, and throughout society. The pill hearings brought the voice of women into Congress. They had questions.
You all take the pill we handed out this morning. Everyone has a pill here. Then see how you feel about the questions that are asked. When you have one of those pills circulating through your body.
They let it be known that they would no longer blindly accept what they were told by doctors, the medical establishment, and government.
Not only were we not told of the dangers of the pill, when we came in with problems, when we came in with side effects, we were told to go on using the pill.
Right. Are you objecting to the fact that there are no women testifying in this?
Yes, we are objecting to the fact that there are no women testifying and that there are no women on the panel.
On December 16, 1975, this voice for change became the National Women's Health Network. Having started as outsiders, protesting at the FDA, we took our rightful place inside and we changed the way the establishment listened to women. Now we are an accepted part of the process. Advocates for change, based on science and trust, always doing what's right for women. Now, as we look back, we realize how far we've come and how much more still needs to be done. We now have more women doctors, safer contraceptives, and consumers' right to written information about prescription drugs, and women's right to have their baby's father with them in the delivery room. We created a nationwide reassessment of menopause and whether women really needed to take hormone therapy to stay healthy. And as a result, breast cancer rates dropped because women got the information they needed to decide when and how to use hormones safely. Since 1975, the National Women's Health Network has been advocating for and empowering women to take back control of their own health decisions. The National Women's Health Network is guided by science, not profits.
National Women's Health Network is redefining what it means to be healthy. Instead of simply looking at health as the absence of disease, it's looking at health in a holistic way.
The philosophy of the National Women's Health Network is egalitarian and unbiased. They believe in providing the most information to the most women that they possibly can.
Our goal is to shape public policy and consumer health options by promoting an honest and open analysis of women's health issues, guided by science, not special interests.
As a state representative, I often call the National Women's Health Network to advise me on how I should formulate policy that is affecting women's lives.
It's really good to know that when you're dealing with the National Women's Health Network, you don't have to worry about whether their funding is affecting their position and what they're advocating for.
The National Women's Health Network is a watchdog, consistently advocating for women and reminding legislators, policymakers, and the public that we can't rely on big business to do what's best for us. Whether we are on Capitol Hill, at the FDA, or the National Institutes of Health, we are part of the discussion whenever it could impact the health of women.
If the National Women's Health Network says something, members of Congress listen.
Because they know that we offer trusted, scientifically valid, and unbiased information. We don't accept financial support from pharmaceutical companies, health insurance companies, or medical device manufacturers.
There's corporate influence on every avenue of information that healthcare providers get and every avenue of information that consumers get.
I think it's designed to sell products. It's designed to, as quickly as possible, convince you that a certain product will change your life, and actually discourage you from asking the tough questions.
A women's health group wants the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, or the FDA, to stop pregnant women from using a drug pump at home.
My older sister was 32 years old, was pregnant with twins. She was 28 weeks pregnant and went into premature labor. Her doctor recommended putting her on this terbutaline pump. It was an asthma drug.
Terbutaline was approved as an asthma drug, although doctors can prescribe it for other conditions.
It's legal for physicians to prescribe a drug or device for any use, but it's illegal for a company to promote the off-label use of a drug or device.
The drug representatives were specifically targeting doctors and actually going into offices and looking at women's files and saying, this woman would be an excellent candidate for this product. My sister was never told about the risks of this drug or that it was an off-label use. Within a week, her heart stopped. So we not only lost my sister, we lost my two nephews. And you know, my sister wasn't the only one who died from having this type of administration of the drug. So it was almost economics over the life of my sister and other women.
The Robinsons took their concern to a women's advocacy group in Washington, D.C., and the organization has asked the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to ban the marketing of terbutaline with a home pump.
The drug company was held accountable and was no longer able to market their drug for a use that it was not approved for.
The network has been very effective in pointing out the dangers of this off-label use of drugs and devices.
During menopause, they were saying you needed these hormones to make yourself healthy. Well, finally, due to studies that came from the network and other organizations, it was proven that these hormones were killing us.
Drug firms that made menopausal hormone therapy had convinced physicians and convinced consumers that all menopausal women needed to take hormones in order to enjoy good health.
And I kept saying, I don't want to keep taking this stuff. It's awful. I feel lousy, and I had all these different things happening. She said, no, 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 it's good for your heart, it's good for your bones. And it was exactly what the pharmaceuticals were saying.
And that turned out to be a lie.
They were supposed to protect us from cancer, protect us from heart attacks. But what we were finding is that they were causing them.
The National Women's Health Network pressured the NIH to fund the Women's Health Initiative, and what that large federally funded trial ended up finding out is that the very things that hormone therapy had been promoted to prevent, cardiovascular disease, stroke, Alzheimer's disease, incontinence, were actually things that the therapy caused.
They fought to get independent science done. Turned out the independent science said what the critics had said all along, which was that hormone replacement therapy was not a helpful product and turned out to be a very dangerous product. And ultimately, we've had a transformation in the use of this dangerous product, and with ultimately thousands of lives being saved.
The National Women's Health Network, a trusted source of unbiased information, helping women to take charge of their health, doing what's right, and getting things done. We are the voice of women everywhere. The National Women's Health Network. We are the voice of our members, a voice for women, a network for change.